Hello student, welcome to my video classes. In this video, we are going to learn about new topic which is function. You can see on your screen. This topic is not only important in class 9, its knowledge is very important in grade 10, 11 and beyond. In class 9, we are going to learn only basic about function. And before we understand what function is, let's see the topics which we are going to study in entire video. There is introduction to the function, image and pre-image, domain, range and codomain, which we have already studied on relation topic also, but there is slight difference. Types of function and vertical line test for a function. We will check on the curve whether the curve is a function or not by a vertical line test and functional value of a function. And now, uh, so you can see a statement which does not sound familiar to you because you are the beginners for a function. All functions are relation, but all functions are relation, but not all relations are a function. And now this is the statement. So functions are relation. We knew that to understand function on detail, we will examine the given four mappings, which you can see right here. There is R1 relation is expressed in the form of mapping diagram, R2, and you can see R3 and R4. These are the four relation. Uh, in all mapping diagram, set A, you can see set A. Set A, Ram, Sam, Hari, Gopal. Set A is name of persons, and set B is the date of birth, 17 November, 3 3rd April, and January 4. And all are relation, no doubt about it. We have already said it is a relation, and it is noted about it as all relation R1, R2, R3, and R4 are the subset of large collection of order pair with names and birthday. These are picked. These relation are picked from a large collection of order pair Cartesian product from two sets A and B, which has birthdays and name and birthdays. Order pair in having name and birthday. So we have collected from these, so they are relation, and we don't have problem. And let's study one by one, and you have to tell me, student, which one you think is a practical and which one you think is not practical, not so practical, isn't it? Let's study R1 relation first. Ram's birthday is 17 November. Sam's birthday is also 17 November. Uh, this is not. I think this is true because today is my birthday, then there may be many other people who may celebrate birthday today, isn't it? एक दिन में धेरैजनाको birthday हुन सक्छ. So 17 November, Ram and Sam has a birthday. Hari and Gopal has birthday on two different days. In R2, let's see R2. Sam has a birthday on two dates, 17 and 3rd April. We will come to it later. Let's see in short. Ram has birthday in 17 November. Sam also has birthday in 17 November, and Sam also has birthday in 3rd November. Hari 12 November, and Gopal 3rd November. And Ram has a birthday 17 November. Sam doesn't have a birthday, and he says he appeared. He just appeared. Prakat boy, and Hari 12th, and Gopal in 3rd April. And Ram in 17, and Sam in 21, and Hari in 3rd April, and Gopal on 3rd April, Hari on 12, and there is 14th February, which is not mapped with any element on set A. So, which one will you think is acceptable? It's true, it's practical, हैन? सुन्दाखेरि पनि यो आन्सर ठिक हो भन्ने लाग्छ र कुन चाहिँ यो ठिक होइन भन्ने लाग्छ. Which one you think is a practical, genuine, or you can say is acceptable? Now let's see again. R1 and R4 are acceptable. Let me tell you, R1 and R4 are acceptable, and R2 and R3 are not acceptable. R1 is acceptable because everybody has an individual birthday, isn't it? Ram has 17 November. Sam is also has 17 November. एक दिनमा धेरैको बर्थडे हुन सक्छ. It is possible, isn't it? So R1 is acceptable. R2 is not acceptable because one person cannot have birthday throughout the year. हैन, धेरै different डेटमा कसैको पनि बर्थडे हुन सक्दैन. एउटा स्पेसिफिक डेट हुन्छ, त्यही डेटमा मात्रै बर्थडे हुन्छ. So R2 is not acceptable. It is not practical also. R3 is also not practical because nobody appears in today's world, isn't it? And कोही प्रकट हुँदैन. Everybody are born and they have a birthday. So R3 is also not acceptable. R1 is acceptable. R1 is acceptable. and R2 is not acceptable because one person cannot have more than. R3 is also not acceptable. Nobody appears in today's world. R4 is acceptable because uh, one date can, you can find a such date where uh, nobody bonds, isn't it? It is, the survey is done on the small pool of people. And जब चारजनामा लिएको सर्वे हो नि त यो, कुनै एउटा डेट, कुनै एउटा मात्रै हैन, धेरै डेटहरु खाली जान सक्छ. If a school has more than 500 students also, there may be few dates where nobody has a birthday, हैन. 500 भन्दा बढी स्टुडेन्ट बच्चा भएको स्कुलमा पनि कुनै एउटा यस्तो डेटहरु हुन सक्छ, कुनै धेरै डेटहरु हुन सक्छ जसमा बर्थडे हुन सक्दैन. So R4 is also fairly acceptable. We can accept. So R1 and R4 are acceptable, and R2 and R3 are not acceptable, and those which are acceptable they are called function. जुन हामीले एक्सेप्ट गर्यौं नि, जुन हामीले ट्रू हो, यो हुन्छ, प्र्याक्टिकली हुन्छ भन्यो, त्यही नै फंक्शन हो. र R3 र R4 रिलेसन मात्रै हो, they are not function. So we practically proved that all relation are function, all function are relation, but not all relation are function. सबै रिलेसनहरु फंक्शन हुँदैनन्, र तर सबै फंक्शनहरु रिलेसनहरु हुन्छ. And now let's move. Now conclusion from those relations which we call them function. है, त्यो रिलेसनहरु जसलाई हामीले फंक्शन भन्छौं, त्यसकोबाट कन्क्लुजन हेरौं. Let's see two relation which are function R1 and R4, and what we get, यहाँबाट के पाइन्छ, के कन्क्लुड भयो भने, one element in set A is associated or mapped or linked or connected with only one element on set B. यो जुन फंक्शन भएका R1 र R2 भन्ने रिलेसन छन्, त्यसमा हरेक A सेटमा भएका एलिमेन्टहरु B सेटको युनिक एलिमेन्टसित मात्र एसोसिएट भएको छ. Okay, you can see in both way. Empty भएको छ तर एसोसिएसन चाहिँ युनिक एलिमेन्टसित छ, isn't it? So, no element should be unmapped in set A. In you can see in R3, Sam is unmapped, isn't it? He said I appeared, I just didn't bond. So because of that we didn't accept, and it is not a function. So no element should be unmapped on set A. Another, there can be element on set B which may be unmapped or unconnected with element. See, you can see R4 where 14 February is unmapped. 14 February is unmapped, and it is possible, isn't it? यस्तो भयो भने पनि के हुन्छ, फंक्शन हुन्छ. Now these are the criteria for any relation to be a function. यो क्राइटेरिया हो, यसैमा टेकेर हामीले फंक्शन हो या होइन भन्ने के गर्न सक्छौं, पत्ता लगाउन सक्छौं. We can verify. You have to write it. You can pause the video. And now let's move forward and define the function, and the definition is on your screen. You can see here every element in the set A, you can see every element set A is associated or mapped with one and only one element. That is, you can use the word unique, you can use the word, this word unique element in set B. Now this is the core point of a definition. Definition ko euta core main point ke huncha bhane, every element in the set, first set, must be associated or mapped with unique element in the set B. You can say one and only one element of the set B to be the function. And now let's move forward. Now this is a mapping diagram. We are going to learn about 5 terms which can be easily understood by a single mapping diagram. You can see the mapping diagram right here on your screen, which is a function from A to B, and the terms we need to learn are one by one: a pre-image, image, domain, range, and codomain. You can see in the mapping diagram, 1 is mapped to A, 2 is also mapped to A, 3 is mapped to B, and 4 is mapped to C. Now those elements in the set A, 1, 2, 3, 4, which are mapped with the elements in the set B, these are the pre-image. We can say these are pre-image. Okay, don't go by my handwriting, just understand it. They are pre-image. Okay, now those elements in the set B which are mapped with the elements in the set A, they are called image. These are images. Now pre-image and image, I think it's clear to you. to be an image, they have to be mapped with the element on A है A सँग इमेज हुनको लागि के हुनु पर्यो A सँग भएका एलिमेन्ट सँग म्याप हुनै पर्यो जुन एलिमेन्ट म्याप भएको छैन त्यो इमेज पर्दैन and all the element on the set A to be a function they must be mapped, so all the elements in the set A are a pre-image and the element on the set B which are mapped with set A are called image. You can see those elements in the set B of a function f defined as f is to a takes to b which are mapped with the elements in set A are images. Image को definition हो यो those elements in the set B which are mapped with the elements on the set A are called image, and the definition of a pre-image is the elements on the set A are pre-image. Now we can see so 1 is the pre-image of A and A is the image of 1 and 2 also. 2 छुटेको छ त्यहाँ image of 1 and 2. You can see in table form image and pre-images. See 1 2 3 4 are a pre-image and A B C are image. Image it's written set A both set A हुन्छ यो set B हुन्छ. Okay, correct it. It must be set B. Okay, image on set B and pre-image on set A. Now you have to write this one also. Move forward. Domain range, we have this 5 term. Among 5 term we have already studied 2 image and pre-image and domain. We need that concept image and pre-image को concept चाहिन्छ domain range को domain बुझ्नको लागि. Now same mapping diagram you can see. Now domain, what is domain? All the pre-image which you can see, all the pre-image 1 2 3 4 are the domain. Now domain is a set of pre-image. Is a simple sense, is a simple language. You can say set of pre-image is domain, and we can see codomain. And all entire set B is a codomain. Entire set B including D. हामीले D पनि include गर्यो भने त्यसलाई के भन्छ codomain भन्छ. बुझ्नु पर्छ range र codomain और different के छ भनेर. Entire set B is a codomain. And range, you can see range is ABC only. Range ABC मात्रै छ because range is a collection of images. Range collection of image or domain is a collection of a pre-image, and entire set B, if the function is defined from set A to B, then it is a codomain. And there is a small note which we have already discussed here. Set B has 4 elements. Out of these, only A, B, C are range because they are images. Range is a collection of images. You can say because a defined range, then it is a collection of images in a function. And a defined domain, it is a collection of pre-images in a function. एउटा function मा collection of image के हो, domain हो, collection of pre-image के हो, range हो, pre-image domain हो, and entire set B, if it defined from f is to B, f from set A to B, if a function is defined from set A to B, then entire set B is the codomain. Okay, not types of function. Okay, sorry. We have done onto function also. Already done this function. Now we are into function. Into function also explanation is over. Okay, a little bit technical problem here. Now it is an onto function as the criteria is a range is a proper subset of codomain. Okay, now let's forward. One-to-one onto function. One-to-one onto function. You can only say one-to-one function, and I divided it into 2 parts: one-to-one onto and one-to-one into function. And now let's see the mapping diagram and the table diagram where pre-image and image are given. One image has one pre-image. एउटा image को एउटा pre-image छ, एउटा image को एउटा pre-image छ. Now you can see one image has one pre-image, so it is one-to-one function. Now the definition of one-to-one function is if one image has one pre-image, one image in set B has one pre-image on set A, then it is called one-to-one function. एउटाको एउटासँग link भयो भने के हुन्छ, one-to-one हुन्छ. Right? It is also onto because we see range and codomain are equal, isn't it? Range and codomain are equal, so it is a onto function. One-to-one function पनि भयो, onto function भयो. Consequently, it is a one-to-one onto function. Now let's define it. It needs 2 criteria, isn't it? One is the first one tells us that it is a one-to-one function, and the second criteria tells us it is a onto function. So the entire function is one-to-one onto function. We have to move quickly so that the video won't be long. You can pause the video and you can write the definition, or you can make the note and move. We can move forward. Now this is one-to-one. See, one-to-one into function. Here is a mapping diagram, and the table we have expressed table, the image and pre-image on table form also. Now you can see there is a slight difference. There is a 4 element, the presence of element 4 which is on mapped, so it makes the function into function. Because we have already studied in type 2 into function hunनको लागि के हुनु पर्छ, एउटा unmapped element हुनु पर्छ. But the mapped element are mapped with only one element with one element, so it is one-to-one function. And the range we can see 1 2 3, and domain you can see 1 2 3 4. And range is a subset of codomain, which we know, which is range being a proper subset of codomain. And in this case the function is into function, and consequently it is one-to-one into function. One-to-one pani bhayo because one image has one pre-image, and because as the range is a proper subset of codomain, it is into function. Into function ni bhayo, one-to-one function ni bhayo, and finally the function is one-to-one into function. Let's define it. There are two criteria for it also. See, the first criteria gives us it is a into function, and second criteria gives us it is a into function. First criteria gives us it is a one-to-one function. Second criteria gives us it is a onto function. So the last type, last function is a many-to-one function. We need a mapping diagram. You can see mapping diagram. The pre-image of 1 are P and Q. Pre-image of 1 are P and Q. Pre-image of 2 are R and S. Pre-image of 1 P and Q, and pre-image of R and S. And so it is a many-to-one function. Many-to-one function हुनको लागि के चाहिँदो रहेछ, एउटा इमेज को मोर देन वन प्री इमेज चाहिँदो रहेछ हैन. एउटा इमेज को एउटा प्री इमेज भयो भने 1 to 1 हुन्छ. एउटा इमेज को एटलिस्ट एउटा यस्तो इमेज एक्जिस्ट गर्न पर्यो जसको मोर प्री इमेज हुनु पर्यो, मोर देन वन प्री इमेज हुनु पर्यो. Just like you can see the definition. The criteria for it is one image on set B has more than one pre-image on set A. एउटा मात्रै भएको भए नि यो के हुन्थ्यो, many to one function हुन्थ्यो. Okay, now test it is a function or not by a vertical line. We have to test a curve. We will get a curve and we have to test it by a vertical line whether it is a function or not. So for given curve चाहिँ function हो भन्ने कुरालाई हामी गर्छौं. Now you can see the curve here. You can see the curve. If I draw a vertical line from anywhere of this curve, just like a vertical line, see the vertical line, it touches the curve at only one point, isn't it? If I draw from here also, it touches the curve at only one point. If I draw from here also, it touches the curve on only one point. So what we can say is this curve, the given curve, is a function. You can say it is a function. Yes, it is a function because the curve and the vertical line intersect at only one. Yes, function. Okay, my handwriting a little bit improving now. Yes, it is a function. If I draw a vertical line, it only touches the vertical line and the curve only touches at a single point. So it is a function. If the curve and vertical line meet at only one point, then it is curve. It is a
here is a graph
function
of a curve, and we have to check whether this curve is a function or not. We check the curve is a function or not by a vertical line test. So we are going to draw a vertical line on a curve, and if the vertical line meets the curve at only one point, then it is a function. If it meets the curve on more than one point, then it is not a function. We can draw a line from anywhere. From here also, it touches the curve at only one point, and no other point it will touch. If we draw from another point also, for any other point, if we draw from here also, if we draw a line, vertical line from here also, the curve and the line will intersect or meet at only one point. If I draw from here also, here also, here also, at any point of this curve, if I draw a vertical line from any point of this curve, then the line and the curve intersect at only one point. So this curve is a function. So let me draw one from one point. Okay, let me draw from here. I just show you vertical line. See the vertical line. and the curve only meet at one point. This is the point, isn't it? It meet at one point. This is the vertical line, and so it is a function because it only meets at one point.
We can see another diagram. If I draw a vertical line in this curve, you can see if I draw from here, then the curve touches curve and will meet at 2 points. You can see clearly see at 2 points, two dots, and then if I draw here also, it touches at 2 points, isn't it? Now if I draw from any other point, if I draw from this point, it only touches this, it just touches that will be tangent. We are not going to make tangent गराउनु पाइदैन. Vertical line त्यसमा tangent आउँदैन. If I draw from here, it only touches at one point, that will be tangent. We are not allowed to make tangent to the curve. Okay, so to understand it, the vertical line touches the curve at more than one point. So it is not a function. Not a function. Not a function. Understand? If a vertical line touches at more than one point of a function of a given curve, then it is not a function. See this statement: if the curve and vertical line meet at more than one point, then
There's again a
it
curve.
is not a function.
It's a circle. It's not drawn exactly as a circle because while plotting by the point, and we have to check this circle is a function or not by a vertical line. A vertical line test. If I draw a vertical line from here, you can see, then the curve will touch the curve and the line meet at 2 points. We can see 2 points. If I draw from here also, it will touch at 2 points. If I draw from here also, it will touch. Only from this point and this point, the curve and the curve and the line will become tangent. And in this case, we can the vertical line test is not verified. If I draw a line from here, it will be the tangent to the curve, isn't it? If I draw from here also, it will be the tangent to the curve. We are not going to make a tangent. We are just going to draw a vertical line between the curve. And see, if I draw from anywhere, it touches the curve from more than one point. So I will draw from here. Curve and the line, the curve and the vertical line meet at 2 points. You can clearly see meet at 2 points, so it is not a function. If it touches only at one point, it is a function. If it touches more than one point, then it is not a function. We are not allowed to make a tangent. If I draw from here, it will touch at only one point, that will be the tangent. That is not a vertical line. That's it.
Now let's move forward to another topic. That is functional value of a function. What is functional value of a function? Let's understand it. Generally, functions are written as fx, gx, hx. If you don't know also, just remember it. It is written as fx, gx, and hx. Let's take fx. F is a generic name. What is generic? What does it mean? I will tell you later. Generic, this word generic. It's a generic name of the function, and x is input variable. Whatever is given to the function, it takes the position of x, and the entire fx is called y. Entire fx is called y. Like y1 inch fx, like fx is always equal to y. Remember this thing. And let's see few points here. Now from this figure, we can see few points to note. There are few points to note. The first point is f is a generic name of the function, which means it is not specific. Universal, it is not fixed. You can have any other name for it. You can give hx, you can give kx. So generic means not specific. It can be k, g, k, h, or any other alphabet or symbol. Now x is the input variable. It is also generic name. So x matrai huncha भन्ने छैन, त्यहाँ y, z पनि हुन सक्छ. If certain value is given to the function, then it takes the position of x. Now understand this with the now given example. Here is an example of a function. You can see this function is defined as fx is equal to 2x plus 3, and there are x at two places, here and here. X दुई ठाउँमा छ. Now if we give input to this function, then if 1 is the input of this function, then it must take the position of x. See, 1 takes the position of x, isn't it? यो कुरा एकदम बुझ्न पर्छ. x takes the position of 1 takes the position of x is answered. On simplification we get the result as 5. Now 1 is the input, 5 is the output. Now fx is equal to y, which is output of or functional value of a function, and it is called functional value. Now from above example what we can see is f1 is equal to 5. 1 is input, isn't it? 1 is input, it takes the position of x, so 1 is input, and 5 is the value given by the function, so it is output. Now that output, the functional value of the function f is 5 when x is equal to 1. We read as the functional value of function. Functional value भनेको के हो भने कुनै एउटा फंक्सनले दिने भ्यालु हो. जब त्यसमा इनपुट भ्यालुलाई केही असाइन गरिन्छ, केही नम्बर केही कुरा दिइन्छ भने त्यति बेला त्यो फंक्सनले दिने भ्यालुलाई नै के हुन्छ, functional value भन्छ. You can just see the value of a function obtained when a specific value is assigned. Specific value in our example 1 is assigned to the function. Assigned भनेछ नि, 1 is assigned. In our example 1 is assigned to the function, to the input variable of a function is called function. Now finally one very important summary of the entire topic, entire function topic, a very important summary. X and y, we know that they are antecedent and consequence. We have already studied in order pair, isn't it? We have already studied in order pair, antecedent, consequence. And x are also called input and y is also called output. Fx is equal to y, don't forget fx is equal to y. So x are also pre-image like x भन्छौं र image like y भन्छौं. Domain, x are domain, all the collection of x are domain, all the collection of y are range. Now, thank you for being with me. See you in next video. Happy learning.